A warm welcome to all the viewers for the course Strength of Materials. Myself Thea Pal, Assistant Professor of Department of Mechanical Engineering, JIS College of Engineering, is going to give a detailed lecture on thick cylinder. Already this is the part 2 lecture of thick cylinder, because in the previous lecture I have already illustrated about the longitudinal stress as well as hoop stress or circumferential stress for thick cylinder. Well, when we are talking about the pressure vessels, then I must say, if you consider the day-to-day example of our industry, or if our engineering field, then you might have seen there are lots of pressure vessels which are basically cylindrical in nature as well as spherical in nature. Now lies the question about the thickness of that particular cylinder. So in the previous lecture of pressure vessels, we have already discussed about the thin cylinder, and you have seen that in that particular cases the longitudinal stress as well as circumferential stress, which is very familiarly known as the hoop stress, you have got certain sort of value. I mean to say, you have got certain sort of magnitude of the stress, and you have seen that the stress is maximum at the inner surface and it gradually decreases to the outer surface. But if you consider about the radial stress, then for thin cylinder you have noticed that there is no stress that has been considered, because the magnitude of the radial stress is probably, or even you can say that it is basically we have considered as 0, because the magnitude is so less with comparison to your longitudinal stress as well as for hoop stress or circumferential stress. But in case of thick cylinder, this thing has not been obtained, because the thickness is too high, and you can see that you have obtained the maximum stress at the inner surface for longitudinal stress as well as for hoop stress, or which is known as circumferential stress. And in case of radial stress also, you have seen that maximum stress is obtained at the inner diameter of the cylinder, and gradually it decreases, and that is, it also get to the point 0 when it comes in contact with the outer surface, because the outer surface of this particular cell has been considered that it is exposed to the atmospheric pressure, and that is why here we have considered it as 0 for radial stress. But in case of thin cylinder, it is considered to be as 0, because the magnitude of the radial stress for thin cylinder is so small that it has to be neglected. And why we are neglecting it, that reason is that in case of thin cylinder, that is, the thickness of the thin cylinder is very less. It is very less as compared to the diameter of the cylinder. But in case of thick cylinder, it does not matter, because the thickness is having too high. Now already in the previous lecture of thick cylinder, I have already come across all the longitudinal stress, how to determine the value for A and B for that thick cylinder with respect to longitudinal stress as well as for the circumferential stress. And today we are going to discuss about the radial stress in detail. So without any further delay, let's have a look at the content. So as I was telling, in the previous lecture of this particular content, I have already discussed the analysis of thick cylinder. We have also talked about the stress in thick cylinder, and we have discussed about the longitudinal stress and regarding the hoop stress. And today we are going to talk about the radial stress, and we are going to talk about the analysis of stress, as well as we are going to talk about the analysis of thick sphere. So without any further delay, let's move to the details. So we have came across the analysis of stress for longitudinal stress as well as for hoop stress, and just now for longitudinal stress. Right now we are going to discuss about the analysis of the stress for variation of radial and hoop stress. So you can see the variation of the radial stress and your hoop stress, and this is the variation of only hoop stress. So if you look at this particular thing, you see this is your radial stress, and this is the particular cylinder you can see. So if you look at this particular cylinder, you can see this is a hollow cylinder. The inner radius has been considered as Ri and the outer radius has been considered as R0. And if you look at this particular figure, you can see both the curve is telling something different view. So if you consider for hoop stress, then you can see day by day it is getting, when you are coming across the entire thickness of the cylinder, you can obtain maximum stress at the inner surface of the cylinder, and this has been considered as radius Ri. So if you need to know what is the maximum stress for this particular thing, then you can see the answer is 2a plus p. And you can see when you are coming across the entire thing at the outer surface, you can see the minimum stress that can be obtained at the outer surface for hoop stress, it is considered as 2a. Okay, because the p value here, it has been considered as 0 because it is coming here at the outer surface, because this is 0, the pressure is 0 at the outer surface. So maximum it is 2a plus p, and this is sigma x minimum, that is 2a plus 0. Now if you look at the outer surface, that is R0, in that particular situation you can see we have considered the radial stress, and in this radial stress what it has happened is that you are obtaining the maximum value at the inner surface of the cylinder, but the value that you are getting for the stress, whatever may be, it is negative, because I have already told the pressure developed here is negative. That's why as you go on increasing towards the outer surface of the radius, you can see at a certain point when it is coming in contact with the outer surface, basically the value for radial stress is considered to be 0. Why? Because it is coming in contact with the atmospheric pressure, and it has been considered to be 0 for the value of atmospheric pressure. Now if you look at the figure of variation of the hoop stress, then you can see same cylinder has been considered. Same cylinder has been considered, and you can see that if you come to a contact with the inner surface, that is considered to be the radius as Ri, and the outer surface from the center you can consider the radius to be R0, and you have seen here in this particular portion, this white portion generally determined your p value. So this p plus 2a, that only give you the maximum stress for the inner surface. So if you come across this particular towards the surface, then there is no value for p, because this p is getting gradually decreased to 0. So only remaining what? Maximum stress as 2a plus p, but when you are coming across to the outer surface, your answer is only your 2a, because the value for p is 0. So hope you have understood from this particular figure that how the variation of radial and hoop stress basically exist. So you can see that both are having the same confidence level, both are having the same procedure to calculate the maximum stress. Only the thing is that the pressure that you are including here, or the stress that you are getting here, is just a positive one for hoop stress, but if you compare with the radial stress, it is the negative pressure you are getting. Actually what happened, the thing is that in case of this variation of the stress, for longitudinal stress or for circumferential stress, or in case of hoop stress, circumferential stress or hoop stress is basically same. So whatever may be these two condition, they are basically get that tensile stress. So tensile means it is obviously a positive consideration we are thinking, but for radial stress it is always compressive in nature, and due to this compressive in nature, the load or the pressure that has been considered here, it is considered to be as negative one, as I have already stated in my earlier lecture too, that why we are considering it as negative one. So without any further confusion or without any further conflict within your mind, you just have to remember that what is the variation for radial and hoop stress. So again I repeat, that is for circumferential stress or for hoop stress, the most important thing is that the value that you are getting for this hoop stress or circumferential stress is considered to be as tensile in nature. So when it is in tensile in nature, that means it is a positive one, and for radial it is always compressive in nature. So whatever may be the constant value for A and B, it will be negative for both the situation. But in case of your longitudinal stress or hoop stress, you are seeing that it is positive in nature, both the value of the constant, that is A or B. I have already made an analysis and I have already explained you about this particular analysis to determine the longitudinal stress. So now let's move to the next slide. Now we are going to analysis of the thick sphere. So far we were talking about the cylindrical sphere. I was talking about the thick cylinder, and now we'll be discussing about the sphere. So if you have a look at this particular hoop stress and longitudinal stress for your sphere, then I must say that in thick sphere that is subjected to your internal fluid pressure, both hoop and longitudinal stress are equal, and they are basically tensile in nature, and it can be calculated by Lami's equation. So again you are coming with the thing that is Lami's equation. So Lami's equation is also totally based on some sort of assumption, and I have already told you for Lami's equation assumption, the material has to be homogeneous in nature. Along with that, it has to be isotropic, and it should always obey the Hooke's law, that is also within elastic limit. So if I talk about the Hooke's law is none other than stress is proportional to strain within your elastic limit. And you can see the second assumptions for Lami's equation, that is whatever fluid pressure may be exerted on the wall of the cylinder or the sphere, but there should be no deformation. So if there is no deformation, that means your longitudinal strain has to be constant. So that thing also you have to maintain it. And you can see that we are talking about the hoops and longitudinal stress, then I must say they are basically tensile in nature. That means the magnitude value that you will be getting is always positive, and you can see that has been told it has been tensile in nature. So you have to remember this point, that it is always tensile in nature. So in this particular case, that is hoop stress, which is very commonly known as the circumferential stress, basically both are same, but it has got two different name. And if you think about the hoop stress and longitudinal stress for this particular thing, then I must say it is determined by sigma x, or the stress that has been determined by sigma x, which is equal to b by x cube plus a, and this is basically tensile in nature. And this x cube is what? That is the particular distance of the strip that has been considered in the thick cylinder at a distance of certain x. So if you consider a circle, it is a hollow in nature. You have got an inner radius, that is Ri, and you have got an outer radius, that is R0. So in between this particular thickness, you can consider an elementary strip at a distance of x at any position. So x is nothing, the value of that particular distance from the center of that particular cylinder. So in case of sphere also same thing is occurring, that you are considering the sphere, you have considered a center point, you have got an inner radius, you have got an outer radius. As similarly you can consider elementary strip at a distance of x. So if you need to calculate for the hoop stress or circumferential stress and longitudinal stress, both the value will be same, because the value is same and it is determined by sigma x, that is equal to b by x3 plus a. And you know that a and b both are certain constant, and they are basically positive in nature, because these type of stresses are basically tensile in nature. Now let's move to the next slide. Now we are talking about the radial stress. So when you are talking about the radial stress, I have already told radial stress are always compressive in nature, and for both internal fluid and external fluid. So don't think that for internal fluid you are taking positive, for external fluid you are taking negative. No, this is not the confusion with the radial stress, because if you consider the internal fluid or if you consider the external fluid, whatever may be, that thing is that the nature of the stress that is induced in radial stress are basically compressive in nature, and it is also calculated by your Lami's equation. So if I talk about the Lami's equation, again the same concept, it has got some sort of assumption, that is the material has to be homogeneous in nature and it should be isotropic too. It also should obey the Hooke's law within the elastic limit, and Hooke's law usually states that stress is proportional to strain within the elastic limit. And if you go with the equation of this particular radial stress, the thing is that Px is equal to 2b by x cube minus a. So why minus a? Because you are considering it as a compressive one. So you are getting here the value for this one as a negative one, because this is compressive in nature, because we have already assumed in the previous lecture of the previous module that whenever we are calculating any sort of elongation of the bar, and there you have seen that we have considered the tensile load also and compressive load also. If tensile load is there, then the extension is to be considered as positive, but if you go with the compression load, then the extension is getting decreased. That is, the original length is getting decreased by certain change in length, and that's why it has been considered to be as negative. So here in this particular situation also same thing is happening, only the thing is that the value for Px is equal to 2b by x cube minus a, and this is basically compressive in nature. Now let's move to the next slide. Since we are talking about the sphere, so now we will be discussing about the calculation, how you are going to determine the circumferential strain as well as the radial strain for thick spherical shell also. So if you consider the thick spherical shell, then you can see this is a particular figure, and this particular figure you can see that there is a radius, that is the inner radius, that has been considered as R1, and this is your outer radius that has been considered as R2. Sorry, I just interrupted one thing wrong, that is that your external radius has been considered as R1 and your internal radius has been considered as R2, and P is your internal fluid pressure. P is your internal fluid pressure. So in this particular thing, what it is happening is that you have to consider an elementary disc. So this is your elementary disc of the spherical shell, and you have considered thickness. The thickness has been considered as dx, and what it has been told that it has used or it has been kept at a certain distance, the radius has been considered as small r. So, or you can say at a distance of at a radius of x it has been considered. So again I am repeating, that is you have to consider an elementary disc of spherical shell of thickness d at a radius of x, and let this elementary be subtended at an angle of del theta or d theta. So this is has been made at an angle of what? D theta. And what it has been done as a result of the internal fluid pressure, let the radius of the disc that has been increased from x to x plus u. So this initially when the radius was there, it is x, and since you have made it an angle at d theta, and now you are going to increase the radius of that particular disc by using x is equal to x plus u. Now if you talk about the circumferential strain, if you are talking about the circumferential strain, then in that particular situation the value for Ey, okay, this is strain. Strain means change in length by your original length. So here you are talking about that particular thing, that is you are changing the what? Changing the strip. Now what you are getting? What is the change in length you are getting in, I mean to say in diameter, that is x plus u into d theta minus x into d theta, by your original is x into d theta. So when you are removing this d theta, you are getting a equation, that is this x and this x, they are getting cut off. So you are getting finally the value of the strain as u by x, the value of strain for y, that is u by x. In the same way, if you go for the radial strain, if the same way you go for the radial strain, then you are getting Ex is what? That is the strain at x direction, and you can see it has been told d into x plus u minus dx by your dx. So if you solve this equation, you are going to get du by dx. Now this u have got this particular value. What is the particular value for this u? That is strain for y-axis into your x. See, strain for y-axis into your x, that has been only given. And if you put this equation, then you get the value, final value here, that is Ey, that is the strain along the y-axis, plus x into dEy by dx. Now the same thing we are talking, that is we have again taken what? The elementary spherical shell of thickness at a distance of x. So now your radial pressure, that according to Px, it will be, means at a radius of x, the pressure, radial pressure has been considered to be Px, and radial pressure, if you consider distance of x plus dx, then it will be Px plus dPx. So if you consider sigma x as your circumferential stress, which is equal in all direction, because you have taken a spherical shell, so your circumferential stress will be equal in all direction. So if I talk about the bursting force of any diametral plane, because again I have told the bursting force and resulting force when we are calculating that particular value for the particular stress, you have seen that if it is in equilibrium condition, then the bursting force is equal to your resistance force. So here you can see what is the bursting force, that is been denoted by, the bursting force has been denoted by, that is Px into pi x square minus pi into Px plus dPx into x plus dx whole square. And if you talk about the resisting force, then what you have seen, for resisting force you have seen that resisting force is none other than sigma x into 2 pi x into dx. Now we are told that the body is in equilibrium, and if it is in equilibrium, then both the bursting force, it must be equal to your resisting force. Now what is this bursting force? That is whenever you are filling any vessel with the fluid, it has always got a tendency to exert some sort of pressure over the cylindrical wall or the spherical wall, and there lies this problem. That is, if the pressure exceed the what I will say, if it exceed the limitation pressure of that particular container, then it may get split or it may get break. So splitting tendency is there, and the cylinder can be split into a trough, or it can be split into two parts of cylinder. So whatever may be the situation, if you're considering some sort of internal fluid, then if you want to calculate the stress for this particular equation of the thick spherical shell, then the concept is same for everything, that is your bursting force is equal to your resisting force, and this should be in equilibrium condition. So if you put that particular thing in this particular equation, then from here you have got, that is sigma x into 2 pi into dx, that is equal to Px into pi x square minus sigma, I mean to say minus pi into Px plus dPx, and that has been told here x plus dx2. So after solving this equation, what finally you get is that, the value for sigma x, and sigma x value is none other than minus Px into x into dPx by 2 dx. And if you differentiate the above equation, then you are going to get this type of form. So you have differentiated the equation to achieve this particular thing. Now let us consider something, that is, let us consider what will be shown at any point in the elementary cell at a radius of x. Then there are three types of principal stress that have been found. So first it is your radial pressure that has been considered to be as Px, which is basically compressive in nature. Next you have got the hoop stress that is basically determined by sigma x, and it is tensile in nature, and another hoop stress you are getting that has been considered as sigma x on a plane at a right angle, and that is also tensile in nature. Now if you talk about the radial strain, then what happens is that you have already achieved the value for this particular radial strain. So if you consider the radial strain in x direction, then you can see this is the equation. So this is your compressive in nature, and if you go for the tensile in nature, then you will get this particular portion. But again, if you talk about the circumferential strain, then the value that you have got for the circumferential strain, it is none other than 1 by modulus of elasticity into your stress along the x direction into m minus 1 by m plus pressure at a distance of x, internal pressure, by your m. So now if you put the value for this particular two thing, that is for the value of this strain and this one sigma e and sigma y, if you solve by putting the value of this sigma ex and sigma y, then this sigma x and this sigma x as well as sigma y, if you put the value, then you will get this particular value. And after putting the value, what you finally get is that you are getting that if you put this sigma x and dx value from the equation 6, and if you simplify, then you are going to get this particular value, that is dA by A is equal to minus 4 dx by x. And if you integrate the above equation, you are getting minus 4 log x plus log c1. And if you get the value for the first constant c1 of integration, then from there you can get the value of this one that has been considered as dp is none other than c1 minus dx by x to the power 4. And if you integrate the above equation again, then you are getting px value is equal to minus c1 by 3x cube plus c, and here you can see that c1 is equal to sigma x, you have got the value as c1 by cx cube minus c2, and this value is in negative in nature. So after solving this one, you get finally the value for the px, okay, px, that is the pressure at a distance of x, is equal to 2b minus x cube minus a. And if you need to know the stress for this particular at a distance of x, then you have got that is sigma x is equal to b by x cube plus a. So the value of a and b are evaluated from the given condition. So hope you have understood how we are going to calculate the thick spherical shell for this particular matter. Now we will be discussing a numerical. So if I tell you that a thick metal cylinder cell of 150 millimeter internal diameter is required to withstand an internal pressure of 8 Newton per millimeter square, then tell me the necessary thickness of the cell if the permissible tensile stress in the section is 20 Newton per millimeter square. So just have a look at this particular solution. Let us consider R1 as your outer diameter cell, and according to Lamè's theorem, you know that value Px is equal to b by sigma x, so Px is equal to b by x square minus a. So you need to find the value for a and b also. So if you put this equation in this manner, then what you have got a value equation for a, that is b by 5625 minus 8. Now according to Lamè's theorem, you know that the equation is that the maximum stress, that is permissible stress, is none other than b by x square plus a. And if you put the value of this a equation, this value of this a equation here in this particular motion, then you can get the value of a in this particular form. Now if you go with this particular solving the equation 1 and 2, that is from above equation, then you can see you have got the desirable value for B, which is termed as 78750. This is basically a constant. So now if you want to calculate the value for A, then you have to do is that 78750 by 5625. If you solve it, you have got the value of A also. And you know, since we are considering the Lami's equation, so the internal pressure P, that is for the outer condition, as it is coming in contact with the atmosphere, the value that you have received is totally 0. So from there you can get the value result as R1, and you can see this is the final thing, the answer of the radius that has been considered, because it is coming 114.6, so it cannot be in point. So you have to consider the nearest radius, which has been considered as 115 millimeter. So if you need to find the thickness of the cell, that means the outer radius minus your inner radius, it will give the thickness of your cell, and that is the final answer of our problem. Now let's move to the next question. Here it has been told that if you are considering a thick spherical shell of 400 millimeter inside diameter, and it is subjected to an internal pressure of 1.5 Newton per millimeter square, then obviously you have to determine the necessary thickness of the cell, if the permissible stress has been given to you as 3 Newton per millimeter square. So again, by implementing the Lami's equation, you know that Px is equal to 2b by x cube minus a. From there you have got what? A's value. And now you are using the Lami's equation for permissible stress, which determine that your maximum stress, that is P by x cube plus a. So if you put there, you will get the value for your a. Now putting the value that equating these two equation, equation number 2 and equation number 1, you can get this particular value for B. So here you have achieved the value for B, which is equal to this particular thing. So when you have got the value for B, if you put it in equation 1, you will be getting the value for A, and that has been given as 1.5. So you have got the value for both the constant, that is for B also and for A also. Now you know that according to Lami's theorem, if you consider the pressure at the outer surface, then it has been considered as 2p by x cube minus a, and pressure at the outer surface has been considered as 0, and that's why you can see that after putting here 0, you can get the value for the radius, that is the radius after getting, that is the outer radius, which has been considered as 252 millimeter. So if I ask you what is the thickness of the cell, then it is similar. The thickness of the cell is represented by radius of the outer surface minus radius of the inner surface, and you have got the desired answer, that is 52 millimeter. So the process is same, the concept is same, just you have to remember the equation and you have to solve it out, because for numerical purpose you need to know what is the exact equation that has to be implemented to get the desired result. So here I came to the end of that particular lecture for this particular session of module 6, that is the pressure vessels, where we have already discussed about everything regarding the thick cylinder, also about the thin cylinder also. So here we conclude the thick cylinder concept, where you have seen how to calculate the longitudinal stress as well as the circumferential stress, which is very familiarly known as the Hooke stress, and also the radial stress. Well, in the previous lecture for the pressure vessels for thin cylinder, we have seen that radial stress is basically omitted. But yes, for the thick cylinder, radial stress is not omitted because it has got certain value. Only the problem is that the inner value is something different, and when it comes towards the outer surface, the value for the radial stress for the thick cylinder gets 0. So this basic concept you have to remember for thin cylinder and for thick cylinder, and you have to know how to get the value for the longitudinal stress, how to get value for the circumferential stress in case of thick cylinder. You have seen already that I have already explained that the value calculation for the thick cylinder stress, for longitudinal stress as well for the circumferential stress or Hooke stress, basically they are equal. So here the complexity get reduced, and we know how to calculate or determine the value for A and B. Basically they are the constant for longitudinal stress as well as for the circumferential stress, and we know how to analysis the Hooke stress, I mean to say radial stress for a thick cylinder also, and we have also solved out some numerical. Hope you have got a very good concept regarding this particular topic, that is pressure vessels, which has been discussed for both the cases, that is for thin cylinder and sphere also, as well as for thick cylinder and sphere also. So hope you have liked the video, and if you have liked the video, then please subscribe my channel, please stay connected with me, and obviously please like the channel and stay connected with me, so that in the upcoming video I can give you some more information about some other module for strength of materials. Thank you all of you for watching the video. Thank you very much.